Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I want to introduce myself. I'm Muhammad Ali, Vice President of SPE University of Baghdad Chapter, and founder of International Petroleum Engineering Symposium, IPES. And I want to welcome all petroleum engineers and students from around the world in this event that brings together several countries, including Greece, Egypt, Britain, Germany, Yemen, and Azerbaijan, and more in one forum for knowledge exchange and mutual development. And I am very happy to have reached 25 countries around the world in this first version of the event. Our five training lecture today is titled which we will talk about the position of petroleum engineers and what is their task, with an incredible man who is Mr. Abdul-Mohaimen Abbas. He holds a bachelor degree in petroleum engineering from the Technology University in 2015, and he worked in the field of oil intervention and completion at Anton Oil. He currently now employed as a staff member at the Ministry of Oil, and he holds multiple certificates in the field of petroleum engineering, including IWCF Level 4, Directional Drilling Technology, Drilling Problems and Working Operation, Drilling and Completion Fluid and Reservoir Management. We are delighted to have you, Mr. Abdul-Mohaimen, with us today, and we look forward to your valuable insights in our season. Mr. Abdul-Mohaimen Abbas, you are free to talk with us, and please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for your nice words, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for interviewing me. Please, if you can just give me the permission so I can just start the presentation. I think, Mr. Muhammad, you are the host. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so now the screen is clear, guys, for all of you.
Yes, clear.
Thank you. Okay, so have a great day, everyone. Thank Mr. Muhammad for your nice words on introducing me, and I'm really grateful and delightful to give my thankful for giving me this opportunity here today. In this lecture today, we're gonna talk about the field specialties for the fresh graduate petroleum engineers and what are the main aspects and jobs that the petroleum engineer, as a fresher, he can go and start his career with. So at the beginning, we're gonna say let's just know what are the oil field companies classification, and after that we will go ahead with the specialties that the petroleum engineers might work in. So as you know, all guys, the petroleum industry in general is divided into three sectors, or let's say three parts. The first sector is the upstream, which is specified by the exploration and production. After that, this crude oil, we're gonna move to the second phase, or let's say for the second part, which is the midstream, which is including the processing and transportation of crude oil. And the last part is the downstream, which is the refining and marketing of crude oil in order to sell it. So this is, let's say, the life cycle of the crude oil: exploration, production, processing, and transportation, and lastly, the marketing and refining. So in general, in all over the world, there are too many companies that works in each sector of these that we have just mentioned. And at the same time, these companies can work in exploration and production, which are the basic companies, and they are the same, the operators or the client, which they can hold the oil fields in order to manage them and start producing oil from any oil field all around the world. There are also the oil field services companies, which can provide their services to the clients or to the operators, or let's say for the exploration and production companies, which they hold the fields. We have also the drilling contractors, we have the pipeline companies, we have the refining companies, we have the automation and system companies, which is a very good specified specialty nowadays. And we have also the EPC companies for construction, and also we have the petrochemical companies. So we're gonna see in this lecture where the petroleum engineers can work and what are the basic job titles that might they work in. So let's start firstly with the exploration and production companies. And as you know, all guys, these are a very famous companies, just like BP, Petronas, PetroChina. And as we have mentioned, that those companies can take on a field and then they're gonna invest in this field. Then they are going to explore and produce the crude oil, gas, and let's say the hydrocarbons that are available in the specified field. So BP, Petronas, and PetroChina are a very good example for the E&P companies, or let's say the operator or the client. Also, we have the service companies. The service companies are lots. We have Halliburton, Schlumberger, we have Baker Hughes, we have Weatherford, and so on. And for the drilling, we have too many drilling contractors. So for the guys who are attending this lecture here today with us from all around the world, in Iraq we have foreign companies. We have companies like Bohai Drilling Company, which is a Chinese company who have multiple contracts here in Iraq, and also we have SLB, previously Schlumberger, which was also one of the companies that have drilling contracts here in Iraq. Those companies can provide the drilling equipment, drilling rig, and drilling services for the clients in order to drill any well all around the Iraq. We also have the pipeline companies. We have the EPC contractors for construction. We have the refinery companies in Iraq, which are mostly of them are local companies. They are not foreign companies. We have also automation and system companies. And lastly, the petrochemical side. So let's start firstly with the exploration phase. If we want to, let's say, break down the exploration phase into steps, we will have methods just like surface evidence, seismic surveys, satellite surveys, and in order at the end so we can decide the type of the reserve that we have, and we can after that go for the exploration and drilling of the wildcat rigs, sorry, the wildcat wells. So these are in general the basic methods of exploration. First of all, we're gonna have some remote sensing in order to utilize images that we can obtain on a specific area in order to check whether we have some surface evidence that gives us an indication on the availability of hydrocarbon in that area. The second step is the electrical techniques and the magnetic techniques, which we will have more vision on that area that might have some hydrocarbons beneath. And also we have the seismic survey. The seismic survey, which are one of the methods that we use in the exploration, here comes the role for the petroleum engineers in order to go deep and dive into the seismic survey, and we will know what are their job titles in that thing. Because here in the seismic survey, we're gonna have, let's say, a map on the underground structures that might have some hydrocarbon in. So on the seismic survey, we're gonna see if we have some oil trap underground, just like anticline, syncline, or let's say if we have some salt domes, which are the structure that are probably might have some hydrocarbon beneath. And also in the exploration phase, we're gonna take some cores from the underground in order to make some tests on that cores, so we will know the stroke structure and the matrix and that might have some hydrocarbon. So in the seismic survey, there are several positions for petroleum engineer to start. There should be some reservoir engineers so they can know the possibility of having hydrocarbon in the specified area. So the reservoir engineers will estimate how much oil or gas that might be available and recovered under the deposit or under the structure that we might find in the seismic survey. So in the seismic survey, we should have reservoir engineers, and the reservoir engineering is one of the aspects or one of the majors that petroleum engineer can start with. Secondly, are petrophysicists. in the seismic survey or in the exploration phase, we will also need some petrophysicists because, as we had mentioned, we will take some cores from downhole and we need to make some interpretations for these logs, for these cores, in order we can collect some data about this area. So in the exploration phase, we need petroleum engineers to work as a petrophysicist or to work as a reservoir engineers in order we can know and configure what are the possibilities of having oil underground in the exploration phase. So these are the basic two job titles that petroleum engineer might work in. If we moved on to the next phase, which is the drilling phase, here comes, let's say, the main role for most of the petroleum engineer so they can start their career here. Because in the drilling, we have multiple operations, we have lots of specialties that petroleum engineers might work in. At the beginning, as you all know, in the drilling phase, we're gonna design our well, and then we will just start with the exploration and drilling, and then we will go to the development, sorry, for the appraisal drilling, and then we're gonna go down to the development drilling if the crude oil was economically considered in the exploration and appraisal wells. After that, in the drilling operations, we have too many parts of operation. We have cementing, we have casing, we have logging, we have so many phases that a petroleum engineer might work in this operation. And also we have too many new technologies in drilling, as you all know, guys, so that fresh petroleum engineers can work here. So let's come out with the life cycle of the well. So we can just know the main operations, and then after we know the main operations, we will go down and break down this operation to know what are the fresh petroleum engineers will do in these aspects. So basically, at the beginning, we will specify a place. We will bring our rig, we will move our rig to that site, and after moving the rig for that site, we will start the drilling operation. After starting the drilling operation, we will just run in hole our drilling bit with all the drill pipes that we have and the equipment in order to start drilling the first section. After drilling the first section, we will be able to run in hole our casing pipes. And as you all know, guys, the casing pipes are pipes that are used to protect my well from collapsing and also to protect the future production of oil not to go through all the other layers, and also to prevent the cross flow of all the fluids that I have underground. These casing types are having so many types. There are specific types for, let's say, for H2S, for hydrocarbon, for gas, and there are specific types of threads and all these things in those pipes. So we will start running hole all of these pipes step by step until we reach the total depth of the hole that we have. After we reach the total depth we have in our well, or let's say the specified depth, we will pump in the cementing slurry. If we pump in the cementing slurry, we will be able to protect our well more because this cement slurry will go deep down to the annulus of our well and will prevent all the cross flow of the fluids and all the fluids to damage and affect the casing that we had downhole. After the casing and cement operation is finished, we're gonna run and hole our drill pipes and our drilling bit again in order to drill the earth again until we reach our specified depth. And as you see here, guys, that this bit is drilling, the cuttings are going up, there's a drilling fluid that coming out of the bit up to the surface. And also we have these instruments or these devices that are the logging while drilling. Those are a new technology devices that we can use in order to recognize our formations, and we can know what are the type of fluids that we have inside our formations. After that, we can go down with our wireline tools to specify all the data we need on our formations. The logging operation that we do by the wireline, from that operation, we can know the type of the rocks, we can know the type of fluid we have, and we can know so much data about the holes that we have and the formations and the hydrocarbons that we have in all these formations. After that, we will also go with our casing to protect, as we have mentioned, to protect our well. And this casing, we will cement it again in order to help to protect our well in the future. And we can have an integrity, a well integrity for a very long period. After that, now we have know what are the formations. Now we know what are the possibility of having hydrocarbon in one of these formations. So next step, we should establish production. So until now, we have just finished the drilling operation. We will start with the production these hydrocarbons. So as you see, guys, here, we have this formation, which is in a green. This formation is the hydrocarbon formation. So we will have a wireline log just to check our cement quality, the cement bond log. So this is also one of the logs that we use in the logging operation of the well. After checking the cementing and checking their quality, the engineers will do their best to improve this well so they can specify whether the cement is good or not. And lastly, we're gonna make through to the oil production zone in order to start production. And to do so, we should perforate our casing because as you see, guys, this is the formation that I need to produce crude oil from. This is the cement and this is the casing, which is a steel pipe. So I need to make a connection from the downhole formations and the inside of my casing. So I'm gonna perforate by perforating operation all these casing and cements, and we will make a path for our crude oil to get through from the formations into my well. And after that, the fluid will just come inside the well and we will start the testing on our crude oil. We will check if whether this oil is good or not. We will make so many well tests to know the formation properties, and we can know most of these properties by this operation. After well testing, lastly, we will go down to our last step in drilling oil well. We're gonna insert, or let's say run and hold our production pipes, which is the tubing. And the tubing is a pipe that I will use to produce oil. With this tubing, I will have a packer, and this packer will prevent the crude oil from going up. It's just gonna go down here from the tubing up to the surface so I can continue producing oil. So this is, guys, let's say the basic steps and operations that I do in order to drill for oil and to produce oil. The last thing I do is to move on my rig and to install my Christmas tree. After installing the Christmas tree, which is a set of a valve that I use to produce oil, I will be able to produce oil, close the well, open the well, or let's say choke the well as required in order to have an optimized drilling and an optimized production operation. This is, let's say, guys, the life cycle of the well. So as you've seen, we have drilling, we have cementing, we have logging, we have well testing, and we have also perforating. So petroleum engineers, they can play a vital role in these operations, and they can, for fresh graduates and also for the experienced guys, because we will be able to have so many jobs here on the rig side. So now, guys, after we have knew what are these basic operations, let's come down to our next steps so we can know what are the basic positions that a petroleum engineer for fresh graduates they can work in the future. First of all, when you go to any rig site, before you go down to the on the top of the rig or start any operation or do anything, you should go directly to the HSE supervisor. In any rig site, there should be an HSE supervisor who will be responsible for the health, safety, and environment in that rig site. So the rig safety officer is someone who provides the field HSE supports and guidance to all drilling activities and drilling assists. He will be responsible for the day-to-day execution of drilling HSE activities at the rig according with the assigned responsibilities and established performance target. Because we need HSE supervisor to have a very high restricted procedures for our operation, because we have a very dangerous operations. We are let's say we are dealing with the steel, we are dealing with gases, we are dealing with lifting operation, chemical mixing, all of these operations that we have at the rig site. We should have an HSE supervisor so we can monitor all of these activities in order to prevent any injuries or accidents to our crew. So for example, guys, if you can see here, we have, let's say, this operation which is running there are swarms, and all the eyes need a very high beam and our stuff. So these operations are very dangerous. This operation needs a very high concentration from the crew and from all the engineers. So HSE supervisor, who is responsible for all these things, he can be a petroleum engineer. So HSE supervisor is the first major that petroleum engineers might work in the aspect of the drilling operation. So you can see, guys, we have so many videos on the YouTube. You can check Facebook for these videos. We have so many videos that we have accidents in and so many other stuff. Maybe because we don't just obligate or let's say follow the HSC rules. So HS supervisor is the first aspect or major that a petroleum engineer, if he was a fresh graduate, he might took and start his career with. And for HSC, you have so many certificate, guys. You can took you have OSHA, you have IOSH, you have NEBOSH certificate. You can use these certificates in order to have a better understanding for the HSC, especially if you were a fresh graduate to petroleum engineers. So, and you have chosen to start with the HSC as a major. The second thing in the rig site we have are the company man. The company man are some people who are responsible for the drilling operation, and they are generally related to the client. The client is the company, as we have mentioned previously in the previous slides, are the company that they are taking control on all over the field, and they are responsible for exploration, drilling, and also for the production and optimization of all this field. So company man, or sometimes some company, they just calling it the drilling supervisor. He will be just responsible to ensure the work is safe, clean, organized. He should be ensured that all drilling procedures are followed safely, communication with the engineers between each one another as a team member, preparing report, managing drilling crews, monitoring the amount of time required to drill each section, reporting any problems encountered during drilling operation, because while drilling we have too many drilling operation problems that we might have. Also, the company man should ensure that all drilling equipment is functioning properly before operating begin, and overseeing all drilling operations, including hiring and training of new employees and monitoring performance. So let's say, guys, this is the company man is the boss of the rig site. He is responsible for most of the operation that's happening, and he will be responsible for communication and for reporting all the problems and the daily reports and the daily operation for the client. So he is playing a vital role in that thing. And petroleum engineers, usually they can take this path as a fresh graduates and work as a company man, because company man, we have a day company man and a night company man. Most of the companies, they are using this procedure. So mostly the fresh graduated petroleum engineers that they are joining the drilling supervision, or if you want to be a drilling supervisor or company man, he just can do and be a night drilling supervisor, or he can be a night company man. And so after that, he will be able to be in the future a day company man, not a night company man. So the difference between the responsibilities that the night company man, he have just less responsibilities from the day company man. So company man or drone supervisor, this is also one of the best careers that petroleum engineers might have in their career, because company man, as I have told you guys, he is the boss of the rig, and he usually have a very good salary. He will have a good training. He will have a great career that he can use in his future in order to improve his skills. So after HSC, company man is the second major that petroleum engineers might work in, especially if he was a fresh graduate. He just can work as a night company man or a night zone supervisor. Thirdly, guys, we have the rig manager. Rig managers in most of the rigs, sometimes, not always, sometimes there are rig managers who are petroleum engineers. Because as we have mentioned, that the company man is related to the client or to the operator or to the big company that are operating the oil field that we have, a specific oil field. The rig manager, no. The rig manager, he's not related to the client. He's related to the drilling contractor. Because as you know, guys, not all the operators of the field, or let's say the clients, they have drilling rigs. So most of them will rent drilling rigs from other drilling contractors, companies, as we had mentioned previously in the beginning of this lecture. So those companies, just like SLB, like Halliburton, like Weatherford, Bohai, it's a Chinese company, Coastal, and more and more from those companies. They have drilling rig that they can rent for the clients so they can start their operation. So the rig manager, he is the manager of the rig, but he is related to the drilling contractor, not for the client. And he is the third guy who we can, as a petroleum engineers, work in this aspect. The rig manager responsibilities are also highly concentrated and specified because he is also just like the company man. He have a lot of responsibilities. He should ensure that all the crew members are following safety procedure and including wearing PPE or the protective equipment. He should have checking the communication with the client to ensure that the client is satisfied with the progress of this project that they are working on. He should also coordinate and supervise the workers on site to ensure they're safely, ensure that all his equipment on the rig side are functioning properly. Because if we have any equipment on the rig side that is not working properly, it is the responsibility of the drilling contractors, and the head of this drilling contractors is the rig manager. We should also have as a responsibility of the rig manager, he should ensure that all the appropriate materials are available on the site for any operation, or let's say for each phase of the project. He should also manage the budget. He should manage the workers' time effectively. He should prepare and maintain the project plans. He should oversee the workers to ensure that they are complying with safety regulations and best practices in the oil field. So as a petroleum engineer, also we can become a rig managers, but not directly. It's indirectly. Because first you should be working at the rig as a floorman, and then you can go to work as a directman or assistant driller. Then you will become a driller. After becoming a driller, you will become a night tool pusher, then a day tool pusher. Then at the end, you will become a rig manager. And I've seen so many petroleum engineers that they are working as a rig managers. So rig manager, you can all guys become in the future rig managers if you just start focusing as a fresh graduated to work in the drilling sections or departments in any company that you wish. Also, we have the fourth major that petroleum engineers might work in is the drilling engineer. Well, drilling engineer need a very high set of skills, and also it needs a very high set of knowledge, because you should know all the operation and all the details of this operation, because the drilling engineer responsibility is going to be reviewing the drilling equipment. He will be responsible for inspecting this equipment to ensure that they are meets the safety standards and it's in a good condition. He should be calculating the volume of the rocks and the particles that we have drilled. He should be monitoring the drilling process, supervising and managing the drilling crew, and also he should prepare reports, daily reports for the drilling process to record the depth of the penetration, the material that we have, and any problem encountered during the drilling. He should also be working with geologists and geophysicists to develop drilling plans that meet the need of the company for new wells or for completing existing wells. So he will be ensuring that the drilling operation is conducted safely, and he will provide a technical advice in any need or in any problem that we might have. as a fresh graduates, we can become a drilling engineers, but we should first also work in the drilling departments of our rig. So at the end, we can become a drilling engineers if we just started to as a trainers, as a trainee drilling engineers. Most of the companies here, especially now in Iraq, they are hiring a fresh graduates to work as a drilling engineers. But first, they are just putting them on a training for about 2 years with the drilling engineer so he can become a drilling engineer officially. So this position also is related to the petroleum engineering, but it just need a lot of knowledge and training because this guy is very important on the rig side. Also on the rig side, we have mud engineers, and those mud engineers might be a petroleum engineers, and sometimes they are chemical engineers also, or material engineers, or many other aspects. So mud engineers are responsible for designing and building the equipment that we will use in the drilling. They will be responsible for determining whether the mud tanks are big enough, or let's say, are they are complying with the safety practices and procedures, and so on. And also, mud engineers are responsible for building, or let's say, for mixing the drilling fluid or the mud, the drilling mud, because the drilling mud that we are pumping down into the well bore will be very important. It's going to lubricate the drilling bit and will keep it cool. And also, those fluid will help us to clear out or to lift all the cuttings and debris or minerals or so on that we will be drilling away while we are drilling until we penetrate and get to our target. So mud engineers are also very important on the rig sites, and they might be petroleum engineers also. LWD and MWD engineers, logging while drilling and measurements while drilling. As you have just seen in the last video, guys, we have explained that while drilling, we will have some equipment that we can detect the downhole formations, and we can detect the fluid that we have, or if we have a hydrocarbon or water or gas in the surrounding formations, we will use some kind of equipment that are called the logging while drilling. And these equipment are very high technology equipment, and they are good to help us to recognize all the formations that we are drilling in a real-time data. So the guys who are working as an LWD or MWD engineers, they will be responsible for developing and demonstrating proficiency of delivery of logging while drilling and directional drilling services, because logging while drilling and measurements while drilling, those equipments are also usually highly used while directional drilling. Working in difficult drillings and logging environments to provide a very complex solutions to the customer and manage drilling well trajectories as per design, because we in the directional drilling or in the deviated drilling, we're going to have some trajectories that we should follow. Also, the LWD engineer or MWD engineer, he will be gonna responsible for completing advanced technical training and assigned well site development program successfully. He will be responsible for the program that we have for the directional drilling and so on. He will be also responsible for maintaining, testing, repairing of all the electronic assemblies used for logging while drilling activities. And so he will be a very high vital role player in the oil field. LWD and MWD are usually related to the service companies, as we have just mentioned, like SLB, Halliburton, Weatherford. Also, there are so many Chinese companies now in Iraq. They are developing their technologies in the LWD and MWD. We have Coastal, we have Anton Oil, we have Bohai. They are also having their departments for directional drilling. And all of those guys, they can work and be petroleum engineers. So petroleum engineers is also one of the majors that can work in is the logging while drilling or measurements while drilling, or sometimes they call it the directional drilling engineer. So these are also concerned with petroleum engineering. Also on the rig side, in the phase of drilling, we have also the cementing supervisor. As we have just seen and mentioned in the video that we have just saw, that cementing is one of the operations that we have in the rig side. And as you know, guys, that cementing is just like, how to say, it's the soul of the well. If the cementing was good in my well will have a very long time as a lifetime, and this well will be producing without any problem. But if my cementing was bad and I have encountered some problems while pumping my cement or after evaluating my cement, this well will have a very low lifetime, and it will have so many problems, and I should pay more money to improve or to repair this well. So cementing is a very vital operation we have in the drilling operation. And cementing supervisors, cementing engineers are might be petroleum engineers. Those are basically have several responsibilities. So in general, they are supervision, oversees the downhole cementing operation at the well site, and provide the services to the customer. Also, they should have a plan, or let's say the cementing program doing in its best, because it should be planned. And they will also ensure that customer satisfaction is met. And they should also plan and evaluate the equipment for repairs and maintenance. So cementing supervisors are and cementing engineer are might be petroleum engineers, and those guys are very important also in the drilling phase operation. Also in the drilling phase and in other phases, we can use a technique that's called the wireline. As we have just seen also in the video that I've just showed you, we have a logging operation. The logs are some devices that I can run and hold or run inside my well, so I can know some informations about the pipes I have, the casing, the cementing, the formations, so I can know all these information. So these logs, they should be lowered inside the well, run and hold, or just lifted from the well as a pull-out of hole by wireline. Wireline is a tool that have a wire here on a reel, and this wire is I can use just to hang up all my equipment in order to run and haul all of this equipment, or just to pull them out. So logging supervisors or wireline supervisors are also might be petroleum engineers. They are performing and giving us our logging services. They are ensuring that the job is deliverable, are accurate, and delivered on time, because sometimes we have also some problems with these logs. We need to interpret these logs. We should be having a data quality check on these logs. So these responsibilities are all on the wireline supervisors or the logging supervisors. Also, we will develop a customer contact to promote the company products and services, because let's say logging operations, to be honest, are a very wide, we have a very wide range of logs we can use. We can have logs for casing, for formations. We can know the type of the fluid. We have some logs for the production, just like the PLT and so on. So we have a different type of logs. And each type of log, there might be a responsible engineer in it. And all of these engineers, they might be petroleum engineers. And logging operations are very quite nice operation, guys, that you can start your career with as a wireline supervisors or a logging supervisors. Now we have just came to the third phase of our petroleum, let's say, industry, which is the well completion and intervention. So in the completion and intervention, I will have some workover operations on my well. I need to make sometimes some operations that they call the coil tubing, the wireline, the silk line. Sometimes we have acidizing and stimulation. And also sometimes we having to install some pumps into the well, which is the ESP pumps. We have some packers and we have new technologies that we might use to complete our well or to intervene in this well in case of having any problem in a specified well. So if you have just seen, guys, we have the big rigs, which are the drilling rigs, and they have a different sizes. But also we have some small rigs. Those small rigs are just used for the workover operations and working over a well, because we had some problems in that well. For example, I want to produce oil from one of for about 6 months. My well started to produce water more than oil, and this water has just been, let's say, raised for about 50% or 70%. So in that case, I should have a workover rig. This workover rig, I'm just gonna have some repairing and maintenance for this well in order to change and let's say to try to get back producing oil and not water. So in that case, I will need a workover supervisor and a workover engineer who can just lead this rig site in order to do a specific job. So this is a field-based position that involves the supervision of abandonments on this well, workovers, completion operation, vertical or horizontal wells, and also we have some services on the rig that they are might be a rig or rigless operation, just like the coal tubing, the snubbing, stimulation, the road jobs, and all the other rigless operations. So workover supervisors, guys, are also one of the majors that the petroleum engineers might work as a path of their career. We have the ESP engineers. Sometimes, guys, we have some wells. Those wells, we need to produce more oil from them. Let's say I'm producing in my well 1,000 barrels of oil, and I need to produce more. I need to improve the production, so I have 3,000, let's say, barrel per day. So in that case, I will use the pumps, and those pumps are the electrical submersible pumps. The electrical submersible pumps are a type of pumps that I use to install inside the well so they can lift and pump the oil from downhole the well up to the surface so I can get use of more quantity of this oil or crude oil. So those engineers are going to be responsible for installing this ESP, and they will be able also to and responsible for running all these ESPs, maintaining them, repairing, and do all the troubleshooting for all these equipment that I have. So ESP engineer is also one of the aspects that fresh graduates can work in. We have in Iraq so many companies that they work in this sector, and I think most of the companies that are very worldwide range famous in that thing is Baker Hughes, SLB, are the most companies that they are famous in that thing. We have also sometimes we after producing, let's say, for about a year from one of the wells, the crude oil in this well will be the production rate will decrease smoothly, let's say slightly, a period after another. And let's say after 6 months or 1 year from production, my production rate went down from, let's say, 1,000 barrel per day down to 100 barrel per day. So this is because sometimes it's going to be because the damage that we have in the well, and we will need to stimulate this well. We will need to clean this well. So in order to clean this well and stimulate these rocks in order to produce more oil and have a higher permeabilities, we will use a coil tubing unit. And the coil tubing unit, as you see here, guys, there's a tube here on this reel, and this tube, I can just take it and put it inside my well. And this tube will go down deep to the well in order to clean my well and stimulate all the formations that I have oil in so I can produce more oil. So this operation here also needs an engineer and also needs a supervisor, which is the coiled tubing supervisor or the coiled tubing engineer. And also, petroleum engineers can be one of those guys who can work in this sector. And the role of coiled tubing engineers is to run stimulations for each proposed operation, prepare detailed programs, monitor the operation, and provide a technical support for all the crew that they have. They are also responsible for ensuring that the unit, the coiled tube unit, this unit, is maintained in an operational and presentable conditions. Working with customer while I work, I will not have any problems or any repairs that I need to do. So coiled tubing field engineers are also designing the programs for all for stimulating specific wells and also for installing all the equipment, repairing them, and related to all the different sector of this technology. So coiled tubing engineers, guys, is also one of the major parts or major sectors that any fresh petroleum engineer can work in. After we have finished exploring our field and we have started the drilling phase, we have finished the drilling, we had made the completion, We have finished all the other things that we have. If we have some intervention or something, now we need to export the produced oil. And in order to export this produced oil from the well site to the processing facilities, we're gonna usually use the pipelines. And those pipelines are different according to a lot of design criteria. So also we will have a pipeline engineer. A pipeline engineer, he should be responsible for designing and constructing this pipe system in order to transport a different substances, because we might have oil, we might have gas, we might have condensate, we might have water. So there are different fluids that might get into this pipeline. So the pipeline engineer, they will perform a site survey, and they will develop the design for the pipeline system I have, and they will construct and install the infrastructure for commercial and industrial purposes. So they will be performing the maintenance also and repairs in case of any emergencies we have on the specific pipeline. So pipeline engineers, they might also be petroleum engineers. And I think, guys, if you most of you guys, if you were petroleum engineers, we are also studying about the pipelines in our study, because we need this maybe in the work, or maybe we will become in the future some pipeline engineers. So this is also one of the aspects of fresh graduate petroleum engineers can work in. Now let's come to the last phase before we just market our crude oil, which is the production, transportation, and separation. Because sometimes we have production wells and we also have injection wells. We have the Christmas trees, as we have just saw in the video at the beginning of this lecture. We have chokes, which are different types of valves and other things. We have hydrocarbon separators. We have a separation process. And also we have layering, which are we using in order to burn our gas if we have some associated gas with our crude oil. And lastly, we will have the CPF, which is the central processing facility, which will be related to all the operation of processing the crude oil and separating water and gas from crude oil in order to transport and get use from the oil and gas without the water. So we have production engineers. Those production engineers in oil and gas industry, they might be also petroleum engineers. All the production engineers are responsible for designing, selecting the subsurface equipment to produce oil and gas well fluids. They will monitor the well as a group of the wells. They will ensure their optimum production that may be concerned, and they will install permanent downhole sensing equipment to be continuously observing the well performance as a real time. Because if I can know the real-time data, like pressure, temperature, flow rate for my well, I will be able to have an optimum production rate for this well. So production engineering is a branch of the petroleum engineering that involves optimizing hydrocarbon production from the well while minimizing the cost. And the petroleum engineer, he can work also as a production engineer to determine the most efficient way to drill and extract oil and natural gas from a specific or particular well. And he will also oversee the drilling operation and resolve any operational problem that might have while producing crude oil from a downhole well. So this is the production engineer, and he also might be a petroleum engineer. At the processing facilities, or the CPF, which are the place where we have the crude oil, and we should separate the crude oil from gas and from also the water. These CPFs, the central processing facilities, or sometimes they call them the EPF also in some companies, they have operators. And those operators are also usually can be petroleum engineers, because the petroleum engineer, most of them, if he worked as an operator, he will be able in the future to become a supervisor, and then he can become a superintendent to produce oil and to separate oil, crude oil here in the processing facility. So he will be the operator. He will be able to operate and maintain all the machines, valves, pipes, gates, and all the other equipment that we have inside our CPF. And he will be responsible for ensuring that the machines that and produces a high quality product and runs smoothly at a capacity and properly maintained, because sometimes we have some leaks, we have some problems while maintaining all our equipment in the processing facilities. So the operators, they will be responsible for that thing, and petroleum engineers, they might be also involved in that major. So here in Iraq, also we have too many CPFs that are operated by petroleum engineers that they can work in the operation as a production operation in all the CPF that we have. Also, if we have a refinery and we want to refine this oil in order to separate this oil into most of the products that we have, like diesel, gasoline, jet fuels, and all the other stuff that we can get from, there are a processing engineer. This process engineer will be responsible for providing the chemicals and biochemical processing that are equipped and ultimately extracted materials from their raw status and transform them into a beneficial and sellable end products. Because we have many products that we can get from refining oil. So in the refinery sector, most of the guys who are and engineers who are working in the refining sector, most of them are chemical engineers, to be honest. But also petroleum engineers are engaged with that process, because petroleum engineers, they also have some vision and some study on that sector, and that they can work in this section also. So here in Iraq also, we have so many refineries that petroleum engineers are working in and leading this sector in order to have very good materials as an end product from these refineries. And also after having some experience and developing some skills in a specific sector, if it was exploration, drilling, production, completion, workover, or any sector we have just talked on, those engineers who have a very good experience in a specific sector, they might work as a sales engineer or as a marketing engineer, because they will be responsible to have some marketing and sales for the equipment that those companies have in the oil and gas sector. So also petroleum engineers, if he have a very good techniques in sales and very good techniques in marketing, he also will be able to work as a sales or marketing engineer in most of the companies that we have as a service company. And lastly, guys, before we finish our lecture today, we have some new technologies. And those new technologies also require petroleum engineers. There's a technologies like the MPD, which is the managed pressure drilling. There are engineers who are working in this type of drilling, and they might be petroleum engineers. We have the bit engineers. We have some AI engineers in oil and gas industry, as we have just seen the evolution of the artificial intelligence that just coming into the oil and gas industry. We have data analysis and acquisition engineers. We have also flow assurance engineers who can work on the production side. So guys, I think in the near future, you can just dive into these new technologies of drilling and production and reservoir engineering, which is concerned with artificial intelligence, which concerned with the new technologies that we are just facing nowadays, because this is going to be the future. And as long as you are developing your skills into that particular section, you will be able to have more chances to get a new job, or let's say to get your first job in your career as a fresh graduate in the oil and gas industry sector. So I really wish you all the best, guys, and I wish we can see that most of you as a successful engineers in the future. I wish you can just get some. I wish if you got some benefits from this lecture. I really wish you all the best, guys, and thank you for attending this lecture here today. Thank you for the SP for giving me also this opportunity. And this is my account on the Instagram, Telegram, Facebook. If you want any advice or any information, thank you very much, guys. Mr. Muhammad, the mic is all yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Abdul-Mohaimen, for this valuable information
Thank you.
about the position for petroleum engineers I think that everyone present has a clear idea after graduation about the position that he can apply for and suitable for his major. So thank you so much.
More than welcome, Mr. Muhammad.
Anyone have a question, please raise your hand and you are free to unmute yourself and ask. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, Mustafa, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, I
Mustafa.
hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, for someone who has like a bachelor degree in chemical engineering and really good with stuff related to IT, what do you think the best basically position that should suitable him?
Well, to be honest, so Mr. Mustafa, first, you are from which country, please?
Iraq?
Iraq. Welcome, welcome. Very good to know you. Mr. Mustafa, I think that in the near future, most of our refineries here in Iraq are going to be moved from being, let's say, an old school refinery into a smart refineries. We are having a new technologies now in most of the new refineries we have. So as a guy who have a bachelor's degree in the chemical industry, in the chemical engineering, and also having a great knowledge about the IT, I think you can go into this because all the equipment that we have, all the valves, all the pipes, we're gonna have need some sensors that we should put on all of these pipelines, and also we will be able to use some new technologies to monitor the process of refining. So I think it's going to be suitable for you if you dive into this sector. It will be very very useful. Also in the oil industry, now, most of the companies they are using their technologies to develop an AI simulations, or let's say an AI models for the drilling procedure. So as a chemical engineer, you can work on the rig site as a mud logger or as a mud we have. And also in the future, you can work in the place of the AI because they will need someone to have a good knowledge on the rig and also at the same times with the technology. So you can put all of these things together and work on the data acquisition or data analysis, because from the data that we have from drilling any well, we will be able at the end to have less problems and to develop a better strategies for drilling oil wells. So if you can develop your skills in the drilling and you can develop your skills in the ideas at the same time, you can just put them together and you will have, I think, a great attitude and a great career in the place of the new technologies. So you can work in refineries as they are improving day after day, and also in the drilling phase because you have the opportunity, I think. And
But you know,
really,
all the yeah, you
Mhm.
answer my question pretty clearly. But you know, the refineries in Iraq are basically like related to the public, like the
Yes,
public sector. We don't have
yes,
like a private sector. We don't have private
bad.
company that basically process all the stuff that get out of the oil and gas. So, and for me, I'm not really planning to work in the public sector. So, do you have any other suggestion other than the mud logging and or the refinery?
Well, more than yes, as I've just told you about the drilling. I think if you just came into the drilling sector, you can have a very good chances. You can apply on the websites of SLB because I think they have a project in Iraq for the data acquisition and for the AI thing that I have just talked to you about the drilling. I think you will be very beneficial for them because you have an IT background and also, let's say, a chemical engineering and a petroleum background. It will be very useful for you. And I think for the refinery thing that you have just mentioned of being all public sector, I think in the near future this thing might be changed. It might be changed. Maybe in the next 5 years, maybe. So and also now in north of Iraq we have some refineries which are not public. They are private sector. So you can also use this as a backup plan or contingency plan.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mustafa, you're more than welcome.
Mark, please
Mark.
unmute yourself and go ahead. But firstly, introduce yourself.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Obiuno from Nigeria.
Welcome so much.
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, what would you suggest for a person that's for a petroleum engineer that started his career as a directional drilling mud motor specialist, after which he was given an offer. He's going to be starting an offer very soon as an MWD engineer, MWD field engineer. So he's kind of contemplating. He has an offer for masters presently. So he's kind of contemplating either to go for the masters or take the offer as an MWD field engineer. So what would you advise?
So you're having two chances now. One of them is to finish your master degree, and the second one is to work as an LWD engineer, right?
Yeah, MWD engineer.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, it's a very difficult decision. So after you finish your master degree, do you think that we'll have chances also in having maybe the same position or something similar?
That's what I don't know now. That's what I don't know.
That's very bad.
But
Well,
majorly, I'm kind of looking for a role whereby the number of times I will be spending on the field will be quite less, like a production engineering role. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's really difficult. So, well, let's come back to the basic question. What do you like?
Okay.
You like to finish
okay.
Yes,
You know,
you
yeah,
as a Mark, you want to
Yeah.
finish your study or you want to work?
I want to progress in my career. That's what I am. So
Well,
just
to be
kind of
honest with you, well, let me give you my let's say my previous plan. After I graduated, I had also the same offer, just like yours, to finish my master degree or to go to work with a service company. To be honest, I have taken the chance of having work, and I have just continued with, and until now, I didn't get my master degree. And this is from about 8 years. So now I am thinking of having master degree, but there are too many difficulties so I can get my master degree. And all my colleagues who take the chance of going to the master degree, they are also having a good jobs now. They're having a better salaries. They're having a better understanding for the oil industry. So let's say it's. I think if you are a hardworking person, you will get your chances, whatever if it's now or after graduation from master. So do your best, and you can. I think you can choose for yourself by the thing that you like. I have chosen to go with the work, to be honest, and I'm not regretted at all. I'm very, let's say, pleased, and I don't have any problem with finishing my bachelor's degree only and going to the work. But having a master degree is also, to be honest, it's also an advantage. It's also something good. I wish you all the best, Mr. Mark.
All right. Thanks, sir. Thanks for the lecture, sir.
Thank you. More than welcome.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, there's two questions in the chat. The first question is how to start if I want to dive into the AI relating to the industry.
Okay, so how to dive into the AI? Well, to be honest, I think there are so many courses on the online courses on the for the online training courses, just like the YouTube. You can use YouTube. There's an online course about the AI in petroleum industry, and there's also one of the courses on the general AI in the I think it's on Udemy. So you can just use these platforms in order to have the basic knowledge about the AI. And after that, I think you will have some difficulties in finding some resources and materials because in the oil and gas industry, the AI is just started to get in. it's just something new. You will not be able to find so many resources and books and research on that thing. So I think you're gonna be on your own. And also, as a beginning in this sector, I think there is the SPE. I think they have also. If you just search the YouTube, they have some courses about the AI in oil and gas industry. You will be used from this one. And we have, maybe you can get help from the LinkedIn. I think on LinkedIn you will find some people who are specialized with the AI in oil and gas industry. Maybe you can ask them, to be honest, on that thing, because I'm not very specialist with this thing, to be honest with you. But I think you will find a solution if you just search for someone who have these things, and you can use YouTube to check. I think the SPE have some lectures about the AI in the oil and gas industry. You can just try to send some emails for the guys who made those lectures, and they will help you, sure, to get your path in this major.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
So the second question is the same. And the last question is for me. You said as a petroleum engineer, fresh graduate, I can work as a company man or drilling supervisor. But
Yes.
I am fresh graduate, so I don't have any experience.
Mhm.
So how long will I need to work, and what is the stage I have to throw that before I work at a company man or drilling supervisor?
Well, before about 3 years ago, we had a drilling supervisor who was, I think, 6 month only experience, and he was a night company man. He started to work with a company that's not very known here, but he started to work, and this is the good thing. After 6 month only experience, he started to work as a night, and after being in the night drilling supervisor for about a year, they have promoted him to be a day drilling supervisor. And this thing might be happening, but to be honest, usually you will need 5 years of experience until you can become a very good drilling engineer. I think 5 years is a very good time, so you can start to be a day drilling engineer, or a day drilling supervisor, or a day company man, and you can apply for most of the companies, and they will be able to hire you, because usually most of the companies here now, they are accepting a minimum of 5 years experience.
Oh,
You-
very good. And I have a question. Why? What was the difference between night shifts between company man?
Mhm.
Why?
You mean why there is a difference, right, between the night shift and day shift? Do you hear me, Mr. Muhammad? Okay, so I think I've got your question, Mr. Muhammad. You say why there's a difference between the night shift and the day shift for the company man, because the night shift he have a less responsibilities, and also he is not very in touch with all the operation that he should have. For example, if we have some important operations like casing, rainhole casing, or cementing, usually the day supervisor, he will still awake with the night supervisor until they can finish the job safely, because in the night, usually the night company man or the night drilling supervisor, he will just only be responsible for writing the report, checking the operation of the day, checking the material, and so on. He is just checking. He will not be able to take a decision in the drilling. But if he wanted to take a decision, he might take the permission from the day company man first, even if the timing was at night. So the day, he will be the first one who is in charge on this on all the work, and the last word will be his, unfortunately. And also the day supervisor, his salary is higher than the night supervisor, and usually the night will be for just only for the training. This is the basic for saying.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abdul-Mohaimen, and we are delighted to have you again in our chapter.
Thank you very much. I'm really
Okay.
pleased, and it's an honor for me.
Thank you so much, and good night.
Thank you. Good night to all, and wish you all the best. Bye bye.
Thank you. everyone, you can